My husband James was 33 when he died of bowel cancer. And James and I have been together for 12 years and we've been married for 2. He died just before our second wedding anniversary, so I didn't quite get to see that. We were both very active. He loved walking. He was really popular in his job. He drove around the southwest as a salesperson. He was always just a really good people person, very humble, always obeyed the rules, always had time for other people. And he was diagnosed very late into his illness because bowel cancer doesn't really show its hand until the very end. So he was diagnosed about 2 months before he died. So those were very scary 2 months, huge roller coaster for both of us. But the last 2 weeks of his life were spent at St Peter's Hospice. I was able to stay with him every single night. It was a big room, we had a bed each. We were given the corner room right at the very end, and we could hear the owls hooting at night, we could hear birdsong in the day, we could see the daffodils blooming because it was springtime that we stayed here. We could wheel James around the gardens where everything was in bloom. It was just wonderful. His favourite thing actually were the baths they had here, because they're huge and they fill up within about a minute or two, and you can have bubbles and you can fill it right up to your neck and get lowered in. So this was the place where he felt really peaceful. He was a water baby anyway, he'd always loved the water. And he could have a bath whenever he wanted, day or night. Because he didn't really sleep much towards the end, so there were things that he wanted in the middle of the night, but nothing was too much trouble. The nurses were only a buzzer away, but equally we could close the doors and have time in the room on our own if we wanted to talk about things or just spend time together. And the one thing that was really important actually was the family room that they have here. It's beautifully decorated, it's a big ensuite bedroom with a terrace, and I stayed in there a couple of times during the day because I wasn't sleeping very much. So it was a really nice space for me to have to go and cat nap if necessary. And also I think his mum and sister stayed a few times, just overnight. James had a project in the 2 weeks that he was here. His cousin Hannah sent him a Lego kit, which was a camper van, a rather snazzy camper van. I think it was always James's dream to have a real one of these, but instead he got a Lego one. And over the 2 weeks that he was here, everyone who came to visit him added a little bit and a little bit more. I think we finished it on the day he died actually, so he did get to see it finished. But this represents the kind of, I suppose, collaborative effort of things here, not just with friends and family, but this became a talking point for a lot of the staff as well, that even if James wasn't due a nurse's visit, he'd still get people coming to see how the camper van was doing. So it became quite a thing. And I keep it at home now on my mantelpiece, and it's a really lovely memory of that time actually. And the fact that it was so inclusive, it wasn't just me that was with James, it was all friends and family and everybody was welcome. So it was a space for all of us to have time with him. While James was still alive, we talked about wanting to do something big, something special to kind of repay the kindness that we felt we'd been given by the hospice and these amazing facilities that were for us and our families completely free. So I've always tried to relate the fundraising I do to kind of things that James might have liked. And he had a lot of friends and a lot of people who he meant a lot to. So all of us have been inspired actually over the last 12 months. And his work colleagues were so fond of him that they all climbed Ben Nevis about 6 months after he died and raised over £4,000 in one go, which is just amazing. So in what he went through, he's inspired other people. And my favourite part of the fundraising are the charity gigs that I put on. I'm not a mountain climber, I'm not a marathon runner, but I love live music, and so did James. And now I've got a wonderful relationship with the Fleece, which is a live music venue in the centre of Bristol, a very famous one. So I've put on 2 gigs now. The first one raised over £2,000 and the second one over £4,000. So yeah, I'm really proud of this because there's hundreds and hundreds of people that end up coming and having a great time, but also learning about the charity. So that's what's most important. Because I found St Peter's Hospice a really empowering place to be, because when I was at home and when I was in the hospital, making decisions was very difficult, so I didn't feel confident enough to make them necessarily on James's behalf. But here we were given the support and given the choices, and so we can make the decisions as a couple. So I found a very supportive environment, a very peaceful environment, but equally we both had time individually talking to doctors and counsellors if we needed to, so the support was always there. So for me it's a supportive place, a peaceful place, and actually we did a lot of laughing. The nurses have a wonderful sense of humour, and so does James. So did James. So yeah, it's quite unusual for the staff to have someone so young. It doesn't happen that often. So I think maybe James got a bit of extra special treatment, but he was always so polite. He always said thank you, he always had a laugh and a joke. He always remembered everyone's names. So yeah, it was a really special time and a special place that I'll never forget.